Nearpod.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna get it. Steady. P-O-D.
Okay.
Say .com?
Yes, .com. And you won't need the earbuds right away. Is there anyone who has not gotten to nearpod.com yet? Okay. Can y'all do it again? Okay. Now that everyone is at nearpod.com, I'm going to give you a code that I want you to type in. Okay, and this needs to be in all capital letters. Okay, the code is QHDWM. Yes.
All caps, right?
Yes, all caps. It's QHDWM. Yes. When you get to that screen, it's going to ask you for your name. Just type in your first name. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. No, just type your first name in that first field, and then you hit send. Yeah, just put your first name, and then you can don't worry about the second field. Just click send. Yes. Anybody not in? Okay. Hit send. Yeah, just your first name. All right, does everyone see the screen that says digital citizenship?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me just kind of prep you for what we're doing here today. First of all, I'm thankful to be here with you again this year. What we're going to do today is talk about digital citizenship. As you can see, devices are all around us, right? You deal with little bitty babies, and do you know that they have a digital presence as early as 2 years old? Because how many of you have kids or grandkids and you snapping their pictures and you put them on Snapchat or Facebook, right? So it's important for us to understand the internet safety. What happens when we put our kids, and even when we go online. You know about the word hackers, right? Yes. People tapping into your information and stealing your profile and doing whatever they want to do with it. So that kind of sets a preface for what we're doing today. Because I think as a community, we have to understand how to use these tools appropriately. They're great tools. They're great tools for learning. I don't know about your babies here, but I know in elementary grades, the babies know all about inappropriate sites already. Okay? So as a community, the more we talk about internet safety, the better you're able to help your students, you're better to help your community, and then we all become good digital citizens. Now let's think about what it means to be a citizen. We all are citizens of the United States, right? And with that citizenship comes certain rights, right? Okay, you have the right to do this, you have the right to do that, right? Well, think about digital citizenship. I don't want you to answer out loud right now. Just think about what that means to be a digital citizen. Because these things have taken over, right? We have iPhones, iPads, Kindles, smartphones, smartwatches. We have smart homes. Did you know that they sell smart light bulbs? Did you know that? They're $15 a piece. Yes. And you can get a smart bulb at your house. And so, for example, you don't want to get up and go turn the porch light on for somebody that's coming to visit. You can, through your Wi-Fi at your house, if you have a device like a Google Home or the Amazon Echo, you can tell it to turn your lights on for you. They have smart plugs.
Refrigerators too like that.
Exactly. Everything is smart now. Everything is smart now. So that really sets us up for what we're going to be doing today. I've asked you to launch a Nearpod. I think you'll like this. I'm an elementary person, and I know sometimes the students try to get ahead of the teacher. With this lesson, you won't be able to go any further than I let you go. I'm going to control your screen. So your screen will change when I change mine. Okay? I don't know how far you all will go into this with your children, but I just think that the more we engage them in positive opportunities with these devices, they learn to do a better job with the learning process. Okay? So that's what we're going to talk about, digital citizenship. So now your screen should change. And it tells you what our objectives are today. First thing, we're going to define digital citizenship and understand the 9 elements. So I want you to remember there are 9 elements to digital citizenship, and we'll talk about those briefly in a moment. And another objective is to help the community stakeholders partner to educate our youth about various topics of digital citizenship. Now, think about the word youth there. Just think about how our kids have these devices all the time. If no one ever shows them the appropriate way to use them, they tend to find their own direction and go to sites and do things that they want to do. Okay? So it's to help us. Now, how many of you have children or grandchildren, and when you get a new device, you pass it over to them and say, here, set this up for me. I need you to set my iPhone up for me. Right? So the kids know this information, but a lot of times they don't know how to use it appropriately. And they don't know the consequences of what happens when you use it inappropriately. So those are our objectives. The content that we're going to look at today is going to be provided, most of it is provided by a website called Common Sense. Okay? Here's our mission. Look at the left square. What does the left square say? This unit is designed to educate teachers, parents, and community members about the elements of digital citizenship. So that's our mission. The goal of educating adults is to keep them informed and empowered to encourage and model positive digital media interaction. So as adults, we have a responsibility. As citizens of the United States, don't we have a responsibility to protect the rights of others and things like that? Well, same thing with digital citizenship. So, Ms. Williams, will you read that next slide?
In order to lead an initiative to develop responsible and respectable digital citizen, every member involved needs to become a digital citizen, model appropriate behavior, and educate themselves about the various topics that surround digital citizenship. This unit is designed to do just that.
So think about that. Now, she read a pretty good little chunk there, but what are some words that stand out to you there? Responsible, respectful. Now, I want to stick a pin in that word respectful right now. When it comes down to us using these devices and being respectful, have you ever seen things online that were inappropriate? Where people were calling people out of their name, saying things that are not respected. Now, here's the interesting thing. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, my parents taught me when you speak with people, you speak with respect. You say yes, sir. You say no, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. But think about it. When you're using a device and you're putting things on there, you're not in that person's face. So it's almost like that person is hidden, and it's almost like you have free reign to say and do whatever you want to do while you type in that post on Facebook. That is why digital citizenship is so important for us to understand. Appropriate behavior. Think about some of the pictures that people put on Facebook or Instagram. Think about it. And think about how that information travels. It travels you can go and take a post down, but is it really ever gone?
No.
No, it's not. It's out there forever. And I think as adults, and I'm sure you have people or children in your family that are growing into adulthood where they're getting ready to apply for jobs. Do you know that employers are able to tap into people's profiles and see exactly what they're doing? That's why it's so important that we model appropriate behavior, because it could keep you from getting a job. All right, what do you see on your screen now? It's blank?
In your own words. Oh, now I see something.
Okay, I'm going to go back. My screen went blank too.
Now I see it.
Okay. In your own words, define digital citizenship. So now you see a little box down there where you can type?
No.
Okay, so I don't know, it may be because you're all on the iPad, I'm not sure. But let's just talk about that for a minute. Based upon what we've said so far, hold on. In your own words, define digital citizenship. So we've talked a little bit about about citizenship. We know that's about the rights that we have. Now think about digital. And digital meaning we have all these devices and you have internet that you can access the information from.
Now?
Okay.
Now you have a box.
Okay, put the answer down.
Okay, so before you type, it might be the connection might be a little slow here. Okay? And Ms. Andrews, I want to talk to you about something that might help you all with your internet too.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so before you type anything, let's just brainstorm together, since this is fairly new for us. Think about what it means to be a digital citizen, or what does digital citizenship mean? Anybody have any ideas?
You said digital citizenship.
Yes.
That means, I think being a citizen, because a citizen is like we're in the United States, you're a citizen. So digital is electronic. So I think it means it's how you behave or how you are as a person into the digital.
Okay. Anybody want to add on to what she said? She's got a good starting point here. Anybody want to add on? She says, okay, citizenship means, we're in this country together because we have to be citizens to live here, right? But then think about further than just being in the country. Now we're talking about as a person on the internet. As a person that's using a smartphone and you're accessing these different apps. Y'all, I promise you, I never knew there were so many apps out there that were inappropriate. And research shows that students know these apps. They're able to do things, and then you can say, pass me your phone. And whatever you thought they were doing, they have ways of hiding it through these other apps. And these apps look like they're legit. Like it may be a calculator. It comes up as a calculator, but it actually hides. So if a person is taking inappropriate pictures.
Yes, you're correct. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. I know you're right because that happened to a person last week, and I'm not seeing what you see, but it was hiding on hers in a clipboard. Exactly.
So now do you see how this internet business can get us in a world of trouble if it's used inappropriately? Now, if kids are able to take inappropriate pictures, and they do, they send all these pictures, and I mean, I'm sure you may see them on Facebook and Instagram, and you know, they post them and then it goes out to everybody, but then when it's time for it to be revealed, it may be hidden behind something else. And they know how to get to it, but as an adult, if you don't know that these apps exist, then what happens? You don't know that it's out there. So Ms. Andrews said this about how our kids or how we behave in the digital world. Anybody else want to add anything else on to that?
Citizenship, it means like rights. We have different rights.
You have different rights. Exactly. So think about our personal rights as far as the U.S. Constitution is concerned, but then think about our rights as a person that's using the internet. So let's say that you have a research paper that you have to do, and you got to go and find articles or find information about that topic. You can't just copy somebody's work and own it as your own. In the college arena, you get put out because it's called plagiarism. Okay? So it goes further than just posting pictures. It's all about what we're doing as a whole. Think about, and it's this time of year, Cyber Monday is coming up. And you have to protect your credit card information that you put on there. Because if not, and guess what people are doing? They're waiting on Monday because they know everybody's going to be online. They're waiting, and they have means of hacking into your accounts. Do you know that a person really does not have to spend steal a whole lot of money from you at one time?
They get it all alone.
Get it all alone. Just think about this. If a person got access to your credit card information or your bank information right now, and let's just say that every day they took 25 cents from you. 25 cents from me every day and from you every day. Just think about how much money that would be over time. And you don't think about the 25 cents, do you? You're not going to miss the 25. Oh, I just probably miscalculated. So I didn't balance it correctly. But just think about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 times 25. That's $3 a day. And just think about it over a week's time. 7 days a week. That person is getting $21. Over a month's time, 21 times 4. That's $84. It may not seem like a lot, but it's not their money. And think about $84 a month times 12 months of a year. In about 2-3 months, you can pay your power bill. Just by taking a quarter from a group of people. You see? And that's what happens when we talk about digital citizenship. So now think about what we just discussed. Now, does everybody have where they can type in? Okay, if you would, just in your own words, type in what you think digital citizenship means. Somebody's posted being a part of the digital world and sharing responsibilities of what happens in the digital world. That's a good response.
Yes.
That's a good response.
That's me.
That's another beauty in this Nearby presentation. I can see what everybody's typing in.
I'm going to get my keyboard.
Digital citizenship means to me that we have the right to use the equipment and the right to privacy. Wow, privacy is a big issue with digital citizenship. Digital citizenship means having your own rights and doing other means and having rights and doing what you want with it. Having the right to use the digital, okay? who's not had an opportunity to respond.
Just hit post after.
Yeah, just hit post after you get done.
Just told a person, be ready.
Person who decides. Okay, I'm reading it.
A person who decides to skill and knowledge to speak and use the internet. This must be misled.
Out of all of the posts I'm seeing appropriate, that's what I'm seeing in everybody's thing about appropriate. You have the rights, but are we using them appropriately? You ever heard tell of, I'm sure your parents probably told you this, don't ever burn your bridges, because you don't ever know which ones you have to cross again. It's the same thing with digital environment, because I think about, and I'm not a big Facebook person. I had to get a Facebook page a couple of years ago just for some educational purposes. But I don't care a thing about posting on there, because to me, I don't think everybody needs to know where I am and what I'm doing
What you could.
and what I cook. Because that's the time when people start invading your privacy. Because if you, I'm in Disney World with my family, that's when the robbers come in.
That's why you post 2 weeks later.
That's exactly, if you post it 2 weeks later, exactly. So this digital citizenship is, as adults, sometimes, we get caught up in the thrill and the fancy. Oh, everybody look where I am. Look what I'm doing, look what I can do. So how can we guide children with appropriate use if we as adults don't know how to use it appropriately? And y'all kids have these devices, and y'all know they do. They have every type of device. Some of them go to sleep with them, in the bed with them at night.
Yes.
So that brings on another conversation about managing screen time. Because just think about all of what happens when you look at a screen for so long. I know you work in the office here, and I know sometimes you have to get up probably and walk away from your computer because you just had too much screen time. You got to go do something else and come back. But our kids don't have that discipline because they don't even know how to communicate with us one-on-one now. Because they're so involved with the internet and what's going on. You go to the table with them, they got the device right there with them. Exactly.
Go to bed.
Exactly. So your thoughts are very good about digital citizenship. And as you notice, all about posting is folks liking your post, right? So do you see where I'm liking your post? And I think that's a lot of people get caught up in the whole thing about digital and internet and all that because of
I think they're lonely.
they're lonely. You wouldn't exactly. You wouldn't believe the emotional problems that some people have, and they turn to this for validation because they want somebody to like their picture. Exactly.
You got some people just on there all the time.
All the
They
time.
talking about God all the time. Or I think what it is they just I say they're lonely.
They're lonely.
They want to be Facebook famous or something like that.
Exactly.
They want to get all the likes and they do stuff for attention.
And I'm okay with digital because digital helps us in so many ways to do things more efficiently. Because I don't have to physically go to the bank now. I can check my account right here. But now, think about old times, as we would say. There was none of this. There was barely TV. And the only thing families had to do was to eat and talk together. And that's how traditions were passed on. You probably learned how to cook because somebody brought you in the kitchen and had one-on-one with you. Now we don't have those conversations. We Google a recipe. Go on YouTube. Exactly. Exactly. Easy. And so it's good in a way, but think about how it's actually taken away from us the things that have actually helped us to evolve as a people. Okay? So we're going to move on. Here's digital citizenship defined. According to Mike Ribble. Mike Ribble is one of the leading researchers in digital citizenship. He says that digital citizenship is the norms of, what's that next word? Appropriate, responsible technology use. So we're going to have a few little slides come up next, and we're going to look at the 9 elements. Remember I told you there were 9 elements. So on the first slide, you see the first three elements, and what are they? Digital access, digital commerce, and digital communication. So let's talk about what that means. Digital rights and access for all. So that means, with this digital society that we live in, does everyone have these devices? Pretty much, but everybody doesn't, right? So if we're gonna, someone told me the other day that Bill Gates was looking, I can't remember what place he's looking at, but he's looking, I think he's purchased 800-some thousand acres of land or something, and he's getting ready to make the first smart city. So now if you're gonna live in a smart city, and you don't have one of these, you won't be able to survive in that city with you. You know how they say you have to pack up and come back home? That's what you will have to do. Because if everything is going to be pinging off of Wi-Fi, you know, if you go in a store, you don't need to take cash money. You got to have access to some device.
You can even have your phone.
Exactly. So that's digital access. So if he's going to do that, he's going to make sure that there's digital access for everybody to have. Second thing, digital commerce. That goes back to what we talked about a little while ago. Commerce dealing with trade. And when we buy, that's trading, right? So Cyber Monday's coming up. How many of you going to be online Monday? Trying to get those gifts for those children. That's digital commerce. We've got to understand the repercussions of certain things when we get on there. I tell you what I do. I just went last night, I went to Walmart and took my little cash money and got me one of those little prepaid Visa cards. That way, if someone gets access to that card, they can only have access to the amount of money that I put on there and not my bank account. Okay? So we have to be mindful, understand the electronic market economy and how to be an effective consumer. So you got to know what to put on there and what not to put on there. Some of these sites, and you know when you get on one site, there's a pop-up that comes up. And you know that pop-up is tracking you. On Amazon. On Amazon, have you ever been on there and you might have looked for a certain type of purse or a certain type of shoe? And then suggestions come up based upon what you put in.
Next time you get on Facebook, all those ads are that purse that you were looking at.
Exactly. So this commerce piece is big. We have to be mindful of what we put in there. Then digital communication. Identifying various forms of communication and how to make appropriate decisions. Think about Snapchat. I don't even know how to use Snapchat. Instagram, Twitter. I don't know anything because I've never engaged in those type apps. But there are all ways of communication. But how are we communicating with them? I mean, just think about Twitter. You put something out there and then you're looking for somebody to tweet back. What are we putting out there? That's the question. What are we putting out there? It goes right back to appropriate use. So, exactly. Exactly. And like I said, the technology devices are awesome when they're used correctly. So the first three elements, let's recap then. The first one is what? Digital access, digital commerce, and then digital communication. All right, now we're going to go to the next one. Okay. Number 4 is digital literacy. How to use technology efficiently and appropriately.
Mine didn't move.
You gotta take your fight and move it up.
Okay, see, we're learning something new. So this is, look, you know what? And that's a perfect example of digital literacy. So what does that really mean? Do we know how to use the tools?
No.
So what do we need to have in place when it comes to using these tools? Professional development, right? We've got to be taught how to use these tools. That's a prime example of not being literate, digital. Okay? All right, here's the next one. Digital etiquette. Appropriate conduct. And y'all, that one is huge for our children. And sadly for some adults. If you want to get your eyes full, and not only eyes, get your ears full, because everybody's live and now on Facebook. With Facebook, and we're live in the fights, right? The conduct. And my question is, would we really be willing to say what we're saying, what we're typing? Would we really be willing to say that to somebody's face?
No.
We're hiding behind the screen. Therefore, for us to be digitally etiquette, we've got to be taught. You know, and it goes back to, you know, when you were growing up, your parents, and I know mine did too, you were mindful of how you addressed adults. You were mindful of what you said to other people. And y'all, this etiquette piece here has caused people to lose their lives. I know just last week, there was an argument, and then the argument led to boom, somebody got killed. Based upon something that happened online. So this is real. This is real. Digital law. Damaging others' work. Let's go back to that plagiarism we talked about a minute ago. You know, you got to give the original person credit for their work. Identifying property online. So when you damage someone's property online, when you damage someone's name online, you know, just like they call it slander in everyday life, it's digital slander. And think about it. Think about if you were to say that to one person, let's say I came up to you and said something out of the way. That's person to person. But think about when you put it online and everybody's chiming in and putting their say in on it.
Can you be prosecuted for that?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. There's an ethics commission. And ethics commission will make you come and remove some things off your internet page, like your Facebook page, if it's damaging to someone else and their character. Okay? So digital law, knowing as educators, can you go and get that clip? Or how many use clip art when you send little parent things home? Don't you go and find like it's fall, so you probably got a little pumpkin or something off of the clip art. Well, we can do that because it's for educational purposes. But now, if I'm going to take the pumpkin and put it on a card and then try to make money off of it, that's another ball game. Because it's no longer educational purpose, it's for profit and gain. Okay? Think about, do you all use music in your classroom with your children? You can do that because it's for educational purposes. But now if you take that music and download it and then y'all going to have a school dance and charge admission for folks to come in, you're breaking the law then. You see what I'm saying? It's bad. And sometimes we just think, oh, it's there, I can just use it. Well, it goes back to, can you go to somebody's house and just because you see those pictures on the table, you can say, they mine? You have to ask for what? Permission. Same thing with the digital law. When you want to use clip art, when you want to use all these different resources online, you got to ask for permission to use those things. Okay? So those are the next ones. So we've had from the previous screen, let's recap. We had digital access, we had digital commerce, and digital communication. So let's just recap right quick over the first six. What does it mean for digital access? What did we talk about? Your rights. Okay, your rights. And do we have the necessary devices? I know in education sometimes we don't have the devices that we need for children to do research and things. I was so thankful when I came out last week that y'all had iPads because it helps me to actually model an example of using the technology appropriately. Our digital commerce. Oh, that's a big one now. Thinking about the holidays, everybody's going to be online shopping.
Get a prepaid card.
Get a prepaid card. Okay? Digital communication. Are we mindful of our conduct and what we say? Are we using it appropriately? Do you all have emails here for the Head Start, whether maybe someone is communicating with you? That's an example. Okay? I know in school, our teachers a lot of times communicate with the students via an email. Okay? Even teacher to teacher, even administrator to teacher, there's a lot of digital communication. So that brings on the next thing, on the next one when we talk about etiquette. We have to be mindful of what we say when we're emailing our boss or when our boss is emailing us or when we posted something out there. We got to be mindful of that. But we've got to be taught. So that's digital literacy. We've got to be taught what's appropriate, what's inappropriate. What are our parameters? How far can we go? How much of that clip art can we use? How much of that song can we use for our lesson that we're teaching on the cooking in the classroom? Digital law. Plagiarism, that's a big one. It gets people in trouble. Also, identifying property and tearing it up online. Tearing it up. Okay, think about these devices right here. Do you all have expectations here about how these devices should be used? Are there parameters or expectations in place that says if you damage this, that there's a consequence? That's digital law. Okay? So now let's move on to the next one. These are the last three. Digital rights and responsibilities. Oh, the Bill of Rights. I know y'all have heard the Bill of Rights. Those are the first 10 amendments in the United States Constitution. So are we basically mimicking with those rights from the Bill of Rights as it relates to being a digital citizen? Digital health and wellness. Education about internet addiction and dangers of technology. Now, we talk about health and wellness. Do you know that with cyberbullying, y'all know what cyberbullying is, right? First of all, let me clear up. Bullying is not me picking at you one time and then going on. Bullying is if I'm picking at you over and over and over again. Cyberbullying means I'm not coming to you face to face, but I'm posting it on Facebook about you. It's even worse, as I said earlier, when I post it and then everybody sees what I said about you, and then everybody else starts adding to it. Now, how is that affecting her as far as being a digital citizen and her health and wellness? Well, now it's no longer me. It's everybody got something negative to say about her. Now, what can that do for her and her health and wellness? It can stress her out. Psychologically, it can make her like want to go in a shell and not want to be a part of society anymore. Angry. Exactly. It can cause her to hurt someone. So digital health and wellness is big when we use these devices because, once again, when I'm posting about her, I'm hiding behind the screen. And I don't think about what it's going to do to her and her well-being physically, mentally, or psychologically. Okay? And then the last one is digital protection. Security steps to protect devices, data, and equipment. Do y'all have passwords on your devices? Think about every so often you're going to get a prompt on that, whatever you log into that says your password has what? Expired. They want you to set a new one. Why? Why do you think they have you set a new password every 30 days or so often? For safety reasons. Now, is it a nuisance? Is it aggravating because, oh, I got to come up with another password? Yep. And aren't these passwords very picky? They tell you how many characters and what you have to have.
You have to have one of these and one of these.
Exactly.
It's got to be this one.
So that could be time consuming, right? Because I've got to sit up here and figure out, and then I got to go and write that password down. Or what about you forgot your password? And you click that little thing that says forgot password, it's going to send you an email with a new password. Then you got to go in and use that temporary password, and it's going to tell you to do what? To set up a new one. But all that is a part of digital protection. Because if they let you go on and on and on using the same password, more than likely somebody's going to be able to find out your password, and then all of your identifiable information has been what? Exposed. That goes back to the commerce side, right? So do you see how these elements are kind of linked together? Because if I'm not being protected and I'm shopping online, somebody can give me information, and then that's going to cause a commerce problem. Okay? So the security steps to protect devices, data, and equipment. Here with your students, do you all have certain identifiers that you can use with the students, like when you have to submit reports? Can you just put every child's name? You have to put certain identifiers, right? I know in the school system we have what's called an S number. So we don't use the student's real Social Security number, because how could that be a disaster? Because guess what hackers are doing? They know school systems have this information because you have to have it on every child. But if they hack the school system database, they get the children's Social Security numbers and go to opening up accounts and doing all kinds of things. So digital protection is huge. So really, all these 9 elements are important, but I really want you to think about that digital protection piece. Because not only are we talking about the children, we're talking about you as adults. Because I'm sure you all shop online. You buy certain things online, and you know that you need to be protected. All right, now, what do you see on your screen now?
Oh, Spider-Man.
All right. So now you have what's called an infographic. Infographic. Do you have a little tool? Do you have some tools down at the bottom that you can write with? Okay, click on one of those tools of your choice. And what I want you to do is, you're going to see the 9 elements in that particular infographic. You see Spider-Man and all that. It's basically a recap of everything we just talked about. But I want you to look at them, and I want you to rank them in order of importance. So you're going to number them 1 through 9. So number 1 is going to be the one you feel is the most important. And keep going until you rank all 9 of them. Ms. Johnson, you got yours working? So you need to put a number, put a number. So you ranking them from 1 to 9. So the one that you feel is most important will be your number 1. All the way up to your least important to you is number 9. There's no right or wrong answer, you all. It's all about how you feel about this.
Hit send?
Yes, once you complete it, hit send. Yours done? So on my screen, what shows up is once you rank yours all the way and hit send, I see where your, like Adam, I see where yours is complete. And you should get a confirmation message that says great once you submit it. Okay, you're good. Yeah, just leave it there. And you should change whenever I change mine. It's slow, okay.
Sure.
So what are you all thinking about this nearby presentation? One thing I like about this is for a person that has problems seeing a screen way up, you have the presentation right in front of you. And I can add certain things to it, like with that activity that you just did. It allows you to engage while the presentation is going on. So I see where Ms. Jocelyn has responded, Ms. Allie has responded. You got yours done? All right, click send down there. You still working?
Yes,
It's going slow. Yes. Yes. It makes a big difference. It makes a big difference too. It really does, because it keeps them right there. And then as a teacher, I'm able to see everybody what they're doing. And it allows me not to sit in one spot. I can walk around and I can see. So if I got one who has not responded, I go up to them and tap them and say, look, I'm waiting on your response.
So how do,
When I go to the next screen, it should go away. Okay, so I see with Ms. Felicia, Ms. Renee. So I'm waiting on
Waiting on me.
my 2 Glorias. And Sharita. That's yours is still spent, okay. It's interesting to see on my screen who put what as number 1. Now that's interesting. To be honest with you, there's really not one that's more important than the other. They all are equally important. Because we face these things, don't we? We're shopping online. We have Facebook accounts and Twitter and all those things. We have rights. We're faced with when we're dealing with our rights. Could Can I help out over here in any way? Y'all good? Okay. See, Ms. Sharita's came on in. I have Ms. Maddie and Ms. Carlo in. So think about what you saw in the infographic. What did you notice about not the information, but just the infographic itself and the way it looks? So if you were teaching children, so what do you all have, age 3 and 4 here? What did you see on the infographic?
Spider-Man.
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 The pictures. Exactly. Exactly. So infographics are very good tools to use, and you can easily embed them into a Nearpod, because what you're wanting is your audience, who will be your students, and for me today, it's you all, you want the audience to be able to relate to whatever we're talking about. Okay? It makes it easier for you to understand, and it also keeps you right there with the presentation. Because have you ever been to a presentation, you kind of like zoned out, like when are they going to finish? I hope you're not feeling that way today. Exactly. And that's why I chose this approach with you all, because I wanted you to see how technology can be used appropriately for instructional purposes. So as I said earlier, when I came out last week and saw these devices, it's like I want to tap dance around, because I was like, they have devices, that's good. But the digital literacy piece is the next piece that even me, I need this. I need to be trained on certain things. And I just learned about Nearpod probably 3 or 4 months ago. And I've been using it with the principals in our school district to engage them when we have principal meeting. I'm over the new teachers in the district. And so I've been using this. I can do videos and upload them in here, and then they can watch the videos. And sometimes, as teachers, I've been one, so I know what it's like. Sometimes when you hear the word, we got a staff meeting, you're like, right? I know. So what we're doing for our next new teacher meeting in the district is, I'm creating one of these. I'm going to send them the code, and then they can watch it on their own. They have to log in, so I'm going to know when they logged in. So it will eliminate, the hustle and bustle. And then, guess what? It's Christmas time, right? Here, after work, everybody's going to go pick up a little thing for Christmas, right? So I'm going to try to accommodate everybody by just giving them a week window to watch this. They have to sign in, because you have to put your name in. I can print a report at the end of this to see everybody's answers and what you put on everything. So that's my documentation. It eliminates everybody having to come together. Okay? So this right here serves a lot of purposes, and this Nearpod is one way to demonstrate appropriate use of technology. I think the more that our kids see us using it for these purposes, they'll start to understand, oh, I can do this with this. Okay? So now I have everybody's responses. Just out of curiosity, who chose the protection, digital protection, as their most important one? The security. And it's okay if you did. Like I said, there's no right or wrong answer. But the point is, we've got to start thinking about, really, when I get on this device, am I safe? Or is what I'm doing going to lead me into something else that I don't want to deal with later on? So what you chose may be different from what you chose, because your experiences may be different online. You might not shop online. She may do it all the time. So that's maybe why she chose it as her most important thing.
I shop prepaid.
Exactly. You have to. You have to.
Even in stores, it's kind of safe to do it. Because, you out of town or whatever, you can have somebody behind the register or whatever. They could be working to get your information.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not only online, but in person.
And did you know that there's a such thing as paid shoppers? Did you know that?
Yes.
There are certain companies that hire people to go out and to pretend like they're shopping, but they're actually out trying to measure the level of customer service. Just because they paid to be shopping, I mean, they might not be getting them information. They might be spying too. Okay? All right, so what's a digital citizen? Is your screen showing that? Let's read that together. A person who uses the internet to interact with others and participate in policies and government. How many of you have to submit things online for your job here? Every week, right? So what's the things you have to submit? Lesson plans. That's a rule that's made by your governing body, right? Your itinerary. All those things are important and you have to do it. It's a part of your job. So do you see now why digital literacy is so important? Because now it's almost like everything is without paper and pencil. You've been thrown into this big sea. So digital literacy is very important for us as adults.
Some people have to talk to you in their job.
Exactly. I do too. I do. We have a timesheet at the office, and when I get in, I have to access that timesheet and click in. If I'm going to be absent or leave, I've got to go in and put it there. And so it's a part of the norm now. It's the norm. So now here's the question. And this is just a yes or no. Has there ever been a time when you regretted a post such as a text, or photo, or video to the digital media?